That's scary.
It is. All right. Every day we are faced with hundreds of decisions. Most of those are really small. They don't really affect our day. But then there are other decisions that are huge, and they do affect our day, both positively and negatively. Every time you get in your car, you have a big decision to make. That is, are you going to fasten your seatbelt? I want you to ask yourself these questions. Do you buckle your seatbelt because it's a law? Do you buckle your seatbelt because you're in the habit of buckling up? Or do you sometimes forget and decide, I'm not going to take the time today? Only you can make that decision, and only you can decide on that decision if someone possibly could live that day or die that day because of your decision. From the website caraccidents.com, they share why seatbelts are the best protection in a car accident. They say failure to wear a seatbelt contributes to more fatalities than any other single traffic safety related behavior. 63% of people killed in accidents are not wearing seatbelts. Wearing a seatbelt is still the single most effective thing we can do to save lives and reduce injuries on America's roadways. Data suggests that education alone is not doing the job with young people, especially males ages 16 to 25. They simply do not believe that they will be injured or killed, yet they are the nation's highest risk drivers with more drunk driving, more speeding, and more crashes. Neither education nor fear of injury or death is strong enough to motivate this tough-to-reach group. If 90% of Americans buckled up, we will prevent more than 5,500 deaths and 132,000 injuries annually. These are just some of the statistics that I thought were a little too high for my comfort zone. I'll be the first to admit, when I started driving before the age of 16, I rarely buckled up. I'm a little bit older than some of you in this class, and so that was not law per se. As I got a little older, moved up into my teen years, I would find myself buckling up a little more. This was a natural decision to make after I had seen friends in high school get injured or killed. And then I'm going to share with you a story that gave me the incentive to buckle up every time I'm in a car or in with a passenger. January 13th, 1998 was a day that I will never forget. It was a day that altered my life forever. I grew up in a little town in Idaho where we had to drive about 13 miles to get to a Walmart, restaurants, retail stores. And this short drive, my family and I took thousands upon thousands of times. On that winter morning in 1998, my mom was heading to town to do some shopping. Little did she know she wouldn't make it to town. The night before, they had a big snowstorm and a lot of wind, a lot of snow, and this caused the roads to be really treacherous. Most people knew in Idaho, when the roads are like this, you need to slow down. Just before my mom reached the next county, a pickup truck coming the opposite direction, he hit a patch of ice and lost control of his truck. And the truck plowed into my mom's driver's side, and he hit her so hard that her car ended up in the ditch on the side of the road. The driver of the truck was able to get out. He checked on my mom, and he called 911 and waited for the ambulance to get there. Because this was such a well-traveled road, there were a lot of people that were stopping and checking to see if they could help with the accident. There were a lot of people that recognized my mom's car and knew it was her, and they had the frame of mind to call my dad at his work and tell him what was going on, and he was able to make the short drive to where the accident was before the ambulance actually got there. They had to use the jaws of life to cut the door off of my mom's car to get her out. They loaded her into the ambulance and headed to the hospital. Before they got to the hospital, my mom did stop breathing, and they started doing CPR on her as they were taking her into the hospital. They intubated her, did CPR continually for about 25 minutes. The doctor later came and explained to us that she would have been saved if they could have gotten her out of the car quicker. She had a collapsed diaphragm, a lot of internal bleeding. My mom was wearing her seatbelt. She always wore her seatbelt. You're probably all wondering, well, she was wearing her seatbelt, she didn't survive, so why did that prompt me to always wear my seatbelt? I learned something from that accident. Everyone can get in an accident. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you're at. My mom was only 8 miles away from her home when this accident happened. I expect my husband and my children, my friends, my neighbors, I expect everyone to wear a seatbelt. And I especially expect me to wear a seatbelt because I need to be an example to those people that I love and cherish in my life. On the Wyoming Seatbelt Coalition website, they give us some statistics of why it's important to wear a seatbelt. Vehicle crashes are the leading cause of death and injury to those 3 to 34 years of age. Seatbelts are the most effective way to protect yourself and loved ones in a crash. One of the deadliest outcomes in any vehicle crash occurs when someone is ejected from the vehicle. Seatbelts prevent you from being ejected. Seatbelts help prevent injuries, disfigurement, and disabilities. Seatbelts help reduce economic hardships due to high health and automobile insurance premiums and deductibles. Seatbelt use reduces the cost of your ticket. 62% of crashes occur during daylight, 72% occur during clear weather, and 61% occur on dry roads. I thought these statistics were overwhelmingly high. I would have expected them to be a little lower. In conclusion, I want to share with you some testimonies from a couple of people who shared their stories on the Click It, Don't Risk It website. I am a principal of a Lutheran school here in Nebraska. One night I was driving back from a school event on a gravel road between Hooper and Arlington. As I crested a hill, I suddenly hit a patch of deep ungraded gravel. The impact jerked the steering wheel from my hand and I lost control of my vehicle. Suddenly I was careening off of the roadway and over an embankment of some 8 feet nose first. As I hit the ground, the car flipped and finally came to rest on its roof. The only injury I sustained was a lump on the top of my head from the blow I received upon unbuckling my seatbelt while hanging upside down. In all the excitement, I didn't even think about that. I am convinced that me buckling up saved me from serious injury and death. That was over 20 years ago, and in that time I have raised 4 sons and helped educate many children. Something that may never have happened if I had not been wearing my seatbelt that night. What if it had been the one time I was in too big of a hurry or told myself I was just going a few miles? But it wasn't. For that, I am truly thankful to God. And this story was from David A. Hobus. He is a principal at Our Redeemer Lutheran School in North Platte, Nebraska. Another testimony from an anonymous contributor. It happened on the highway by my house. I wasn't involved in the accident, my brother was. He wasn't wearing his seatbelt because his dad always told him that more people die wearing it. Have any of you ever heard that? I have actually heard that before. He started going into the ditch, overcorrected, and rolled maybe 3 or 4 times before his truck came to a stop. He was ejected from the car out the driver's side door. He wasn't found until 3 o'clock in the morning. He suffered major head trauma and was in a coma for a week before they flew him out. He did live, but now he is paralyzed on his left side. If my brother would have been wearing his seatbelt, he would still be the same old brother I used to have. So I'd like to encourage all of you the next time you get in to drive your car or you are a passenger in a car, I encourage you to buckle up. I want you to think about how precious your life is to other people and how precious your family and your friends' lives are to you. So take 5 seconds of your time and buckle up. Thank you.